podcast. This is the Chef Local edition, and I'm joined by Chris Parasuk. Did I pronounce that right?
Yep.
Perfect. He is also here at Hook and Ladder, but a Red Seal chef. And so what we're going to be talking about today is the resiliency story, not only of Hook and Ladder, but also of the restaurant industry in general in Calgary. And so, yeah, without any further ado, I'll let you take it away.
Oh, thanks, man. So basically when COVID hit, the world sort of ended, and or at least it was looking that way. So, a lot of people were having a lot of difficulties in business. Lots of businesses shut down, and one of the industries that was hit hardest was the restaurant industry, of course, with just the majority of restaurants having to close their doors. At Hook and Ladder, we have an open book management style where the first thing that our leaders did was to kind of share with us the financials and get everybody on the same page as to where we're at as far as revenue expected versus what's gonna happen in the next few months. And so we were all on the same page, and it was decided right off the bat that we were going to need to put some effort into drumming up some new business and trying to be innovative in our marketing approach, and so we were basically unleashed to come up with some ideas. And given my background and my experience, there was a very obvious thing in my mind that was, hey, how can we make an impact in the restaurant industry, specifically in regards to like local restaurants and chef-driven restaurants, given the fact that those kinds of restaurants are not usually the kinds of restaurants that really focus on third-party delivery and that kind of thing. And so this chef local idea was birthed from that. So it was about a week and a half of conversations between some team members, and we came up with a very brief sort of basic high level outline of what the model could look like, and then essentially we ran with it from there. And in about 8 weeks, we went from an idea for a platform to a business generating revenue. So
wow.
Yeah, so it was
And so you being like kind of, it seems like Hook and Ladder kind of had to look at all of their assets, and they were like, right, Chris is a Red Seal chef, and you recognize that within yourself, and you're like, okay, this is what I am. Apart from being an employee here at this digital agency, I'm also passionate about food, and I'm also a Red Seal chef. Mm-hmm. And so then you were able to kind of leverage that in some way.
Blend those worlds for sure. I mean, this to give you guys some context, Chef Local is a platform for local restaurants to offer a master cooking class that comes with a meal kit with everything that the diner at home needs to prepare the cooking class. So on the platform, essentially a diner will purchase a kit. We will have created a high quality video class with the chef of that particular local restaurant. And then the diner will receive all the appropriate links and resources to do that online class, and then they'll either get delivery or pick up at the restaurant a kit with all the raw ingredients to then follow along with the chef of that restaurant and prepare it. And it's a dinner for two, so it ends up being kind of like a perfect sort of date night experience if you wanted to share that experience with a spouse or a partner or a friend or something like that. But so that's kind of like the overview of what the platform is.
And quickly, which restaurants are on board currently?
Yeah, so right now we have the Dean House in Calgary. We're available just in Calgary right now, but we have the Dean House, we have Market, and we have Jane Baum Barbecue. Klein Harris is going to be filming their video in the next couple of weeks here too, so they'll be on board as well. So we're just we're trucking along, having more and more conversations with restaurants and getting more and more restaurants on board and excited about it. So.
And this is 2 months since this idea started?
Yeah.
Or a month and a bit?
Yeah, 2 months. Yeah, that sounds about 3 months, I think. 3 months. Yeah.
So, I mean, this sounds to me like a pretty polished and now currently running thing, is this idea in its entirety, did it just pop into your brain when kind of your hook and ladder's backs were against the wall, or how did it come out so polished and already working so fast? What was your experience with that, or how did you?
That's a good question. Definitely didn't come out polished right off the bat. Absolutely not. I think at first the idea was to create some kind of an experience, a dining experience, curated somehow, some way by chefs, like working chefs at local restaurants, that you can enjoy in the only place where you can enjoy a dining experience at the time, which is at home. So that's kind of like the statement right off the bat. It's like, let's try to sort of figure out a way to create some sort of a dining experience that you can have curated by a local chef at home that's like really chef driven. And I'm not talking a takeout in a box kind of thing. I mean, I think not every chef, but a lot of chefs, especially in kind of more of the chef driven type restaurants and local restaurants, you know, their heart will break a little bit every time that they have a takeout order, right? Because they put a lot of effort into plating and presentation, and you know, rightly so, because you eat with your eyes first, right? And so when that effort is stuck into a box and sent on a journey to somebody's home, chances are it's not going to look even close to the way the chef had envisioned it to look.
Maybe
when
wilted.
it arrives at home. Yeah, wilted and just not quite warm or hot anymore, and just it is what it is. And at the same time too, the prices for these restaurants that we're going to have these experiences at are very much based on an experience as a whole, and not just you can get a takeout order from somewhere for $7, but you're not going to get that restaurant experience at that price range, you know what I mean? So
and I read the tagline, I think it's experience and knowledge. So obviously experience, like you said, it's going to be with your eyes first, maybe with your nose, a smell, with taste. That's the entire experience. So there's that, and then on the other side there's knowledge. So I'm assuming with this approach, the dollar that the customer is spending is going into both of those categories.
100%. And that's like, as the idea morphed, it became much more clear that, one of the real pieces of value that we can offer is, not only trying to come up with some sort of a dining experience at home for people. Originally we had ideas where, we would put, encourage restaurants to put little bits and pieces into the kit that could be used maybe as like a centerpiece or like something like that to kind of create a bit more of an ambiance. And so we were kind of bouncing ideas back and forth, and some of them were kind of cute, and
a violin.
But a little
learn
little
how to
violin.
play it.
Comes with a coupon for a musician to come and play violin at your house while you're eating.
That could be cool.
Social distance, of course. So these ideas were thrown around, but it became pretty clear right off the, at one point that, one of the best pieces of value we can offer people is, showing them how to grow as an at-home cook, and like giving them an opportunity to really learn how to do it themselves. And, there are plenty of resources online, Food Network and, YouTube videos and all sorts of things to teaching people how to cook, but this platform really, it's called Chef Local because it really is bringing local chefs to that, authority of teacher, to their own city and their own community. So,
creating new local chefs.
Totally. Creating new chef locals.
As the cycle continues.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, there's some amazing resources out there of other chefs teaching, all kinds of things online, but we felt that there was definitely a gap in what can I learn in my city from the people who are, quite honestly, incredibly skilled, who are close to me, that I can go to the restaurant and like wave at,
Right. And it's like attaching a why. It's like we know that local chefs are important, regular people like me, but through Chef Local, it sounds like we're figuring out why local chefs are important.
Totally.
It's because they are inspired artists making amazing food.
Absolutely.
But I know there's a couple other things as well that you could probably touch on. You were saying something about, how chefs are going to be a little bit more close to the whole topic of sustainability and
totally
and things like that, which someone like me, I just wouldn't know too much about.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because that's totally true. It's like, there's been a big shift in the attitude in the market behind, really putting a lot of support behind local food and, local farmers and seasonal products and sustainable products and that kind of thing. And, that I can confidently say that the push that has kind of created that in the market has been done so by local chefs and by chefs. It wasn't someone sitting at home that said, oh, I want to, really start like a movement pushing people to like buy from a market, as opposed to like, getting the food at a massive corporate grocery store chain or whatever, right?
Or they might have those ambitions, but they're not running a restaurant. So
yeah. And I mean, the more and more that the local eating and sustainability is becoming kind of normalized, the better it is for everybody. And so and organic food and all that stuff, you see, the biggest stores in the world that are carrying organic food, that have organic sections, and that kind of thing was really driven by pioneers really kind of expressing to the public that, hey, this is important for us to consider, and so organic's one thing, but if it comes from halfway across the world, it's still not a locally sourced product,
right?
So it's those chefs that are the ones that are going out, for the most part, that are going out to the farms and going out to meet their suppliers and, to learn about how, that cattle rancher is rearing his cattle and, to just learn about that so that they can kind of express that to the people that come and eat their food and their product by putting it on the plate, by telling a story, on the menu. You see more and more references of products to where they're from, the name of the farm, or at least like the name of the region or the area,
right?
And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited by it. I mean, as a chef, when I was working in the industry in particularly in Montreal, when April came around, you'd have every restaurant in the city just explode with asparagus, for example, and you can just tell that, like, okay, asparagus have popped out, like the first run of asparagus are here, and every restaurant is just super pumped about it. And so, you'll have at least 3 or 4 dishes on almost every single restaurant worth any salt, in the city that features asparagus. I mean, I was making like,
how many things can you make with asparagus?
My pastry chef was doing asparagus ice cream at one point in time.
On.
Like, just when these things come out and you can tell that the community is excited about it because it's that seasonal thing. It's like when peaches from BC are fresh. You compare that quality wise to like a peach you get from California in January. Like, there's absolutely no comparison whatsoever.
Well, it's interesting, the byproducts of food, that it can create community in a sense. Like in Calgary here, it's like we're very excited, when the Stampede comes to town.
Yeah.
But in this situation, it's like we're very excited when asparagus comes to town.
Yeah.
And everyone rallies around a specific piece of food.
Yeah, totally.
That's local. There's so many other cool things that come from kind of thinking this way.
100%. And if you want to kind of geek out a little bit, if you notice any of your favorite restaurants that have fiddleheads on the menu, for example.
What's it?
A fiddlehead is like a little wild, like
asparagus.
It looks like the head of a violin, like how it curls.
Oh, okay.
And then that's where when you pick it. And they're all foraged, like nobody grows them.
Oh, wow.
So when fiddleheads are on the menu in the springtime, that's like, one of those things that you'll notice, because it's one of the first, foraged foods that becomes available in the season.
Wow.
And then as we move forward into like the summertime and then into the fall, like, there's more mushrooms that are available to be foraged and that kind of thing. But fiddleheads is one of the first ones. And so when you notice fiddleheads on the menu at a particular restaurant, you know that they're in touch with like not only seasonal, not only local, but foraged and what's wild growing.
Pro tip for you all.
There you go. Yeah, get your fiddleheads. Make sure you cook them. If you don't know how to cook them, look it up, because you need to know how to cook them properly.
Well, that was a really interesting kind of path. You were talking about sustainability and things like that. Right before that, we were talking about obviously the main benefit that was there when Chef Local started, which was giving people a date night experience at home.
Yeah.
But as COVID, has morphed, you can never say it ends, but as it is lightened up, and it's other aspects have become important about Chef Local as well. And like you were touching on, the knowledge aspect and the fact that people at home, they want to learn, and not only learn about how to cook, but they want to learn how to cook from their local chefs, as opposed to, the Jamie Olivers of the world. And, and that's an important kind of transfer of knowledge that happens. I'm trying to think, are there any other positive byproducts of this? Kind of, if you were to take your mind out of a COVID mindset, kind of going forward, that you can think of? I don't know.
I mean, we haven't mentioned anything about COVID in any of our marketing or our messaging or anything like that, for Chef Local, just because the timing of it is, obviously the idea was a birthed in this situation, right?
To meet a need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
But it's everybody is going to, people are going to continue to cook at home. People are going to continue to be excited about food, because it is one of the most exciting things in the world. You eat an amazing meal. It's like, I don't know, that's up there for pretty much, should be up there for anybody, I think, right? Foodie or not. So, the idea of learning how to get better at that, and learning how to master that craft, if you will, is never going to go away. And there's always going to be leaders in the charge, thought leaders, and craftsmen and women that are really kind of driving that. And I can't think of any city that I've been to that doesn't have, even towns that don't have incredibly talented chefs, and so just kind of really bringing that community to focus on the chefs is one of the main focuses for Chef Local.
Okay.
And then, not to mention, if you get a meal kit and you do it at home, a benefit to the restaurant is you're probably guaranteed to have that person want to come and actually try it at the restaurant too. And not that the meal kits are directly from the menu necessarily from restaurants, but
some healthy competition.
You're gonna want to see hey, how does it compare? How did I do compared to the chef? And so this.
And you always lose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to say, you guys, you'll probably always lose.
This is a game you'll always lose, but you'll become addicted to it, and that's the point. Yeah.
No, and I mean, as the platform grows and as we expand out to other cities, there's tons of different possibilities of just continuing to bring the industry together and really focus on restaurants and chefs, that people that are working in the industry. You mentioned the Jamie Olivers of the world. Jamie Oliver's an amazing chef and great,
charming,
great. He's a sexy man.
Right. Great accent.
And he's done great things for the industry. But
he's also local to whatever
he's
town,
local to wherever he is, right?
Wherever he lives.
Exactly. if I'm watching a video from a chef in, even a prominent chef in New York talking about, something that he's making, we're in Calgary, Alberta right now, how far away is New York from us? It's pretty far. So he's talking about making something from something local that's close to him. That's not local for us.
Right.
Unless we get those same products from here. But if we're talking, if it's a Calgary chef talking about a dish that they've made with these local ingredients, that's the most relevant that it can be to the audience. And I mentioned, that we have plans to expand to other cities and that kind of thing. And when we do, it's going to be the chefs of those cities that are leading that conversation to the population of those cities and the foodies and the people that are just excited about food as I am, and we are. So
Interesting. Yeah, I think the entire theme is to attach yourself to where you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
And that's you're not only going to feel emotionally, psychologically better if you apply that to every area of your life, but also the food you eat is going to taste better.
Yeah, totally.
And you're going to learn a lot of things that's applicable to where you're at. Yeah, that was a great. I'm sure there's a lot more to the story, but
Yeah.
thanks again for sharing this with us and for starting this movement that is Chef Local. I'm sure we will have many more topics to talk about
100%.
as this continues on.
100%. Well, I'm always pumped when I get to talk about food and kind of share this passion of mine and talk about, my favorite restaurants. So thanks for having me.
And one last thing we forgot to talk about, Chef Chris, was how can people engage Chef Local? What's the path that they take?
If you're an aspiring at-home chef and you want to expand your knowledge and interact with chefs in your city by purchasing a Chef Local kit, you can head to cheflocal.ca. On the page, you'll have a bunch of options of different restaurants and what they're offering in their kits. You have the chance to add on a cocktail pairing or a wine pairing,
Cool.
Inspired by the sommelier of the restaurant. And if you are a restaurateur or a chef or a manager or something like that, working in the industry and you want to partner with us and be a part of the Chef Local platform, you can once again go to cheflocal.ca and get in touch through the links on the page, or you can email info@cheflocal.ca, or head over to our Instagram or Facebook accounts, official Chef Local, and send us a DM. Be happy to talk to you.
Perfect. Thanks again.
Yeah, my pleasure.